1, a 2, a 1.
It's time for the Better Horses Radio Show. So let's saddle up and ride as we explore the Western way of life, horses and cows, family and friends, a relationship with the land, and a relationship with God. It's all here on Better Horses Radio. Now let's hit the trails with the Better Horses team.
And you are dialed into Better Horses Radio. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Ed Adams.
And I'm Merle Arbo.
And together we get to talk all about the equine industry. And Merle, it has been one exciting week this week.
I'm not sure I'd call it exciting. More like cold, blustery, blizzard-like conditions. Exciting, I'm not sure is on my radar.
So for all those that are listening nationwide, we're broadcasting you from the heartland of the Midwest in Kansas City, Missouri. And we did get the challenge here for the equine industry. We had 15 inches of snow dumped on us. And Merle, what's that like to have that kind of challenges in your day-to-day?
For the average horse owner, I think you can kind of prepare if you got one or two horses. But like when you have a whole barn full of horses and outside horses, I mean, to be honest, like the 3 or 4 days leading up to it, I was making sure we had enough grain, had enough shavings, had enough hay. Like we put salt blocks out for the horses, make sure the hay was out for the outside horses, got the water heaters in all the tanks. I mean, there was a lot of prep even before the storm hit. And I'm sure you can relate to that, Ed.
It is amazing to watch all the boarders that are coming through the barn, and they're very great in taking care of their horses, putting blankets on, making sure everything is well set up so that when we do escort those horses out, they are well protected on the events. And we were going through some pretty massive winds with close to 10 below zero with the just single-digit temperatures.
Oh, yeah. It was really challenging, I guess, is a nice way to put it.
Yeah, we don't want to talk all about weather, but we're talking all about the equine industry and exactly what we have. We have some great trainers coming our way, and we are excited about this because we got a lot of events coming in, and we're going to start off the show by talking to Tammy Schwartz, and she's going to be the Director of Operations at what you and I both know, Merle, is Road to the Horse for 2025. Now, this is a World Championship of colt starting. It's going to be March 27th through the 30th in Lexington, Kentucky. And we're kind of vested in this, Merle, because our very own trainer, Phil Haugen from Weatherford, Oklahoma, is going to be one of the contestants there.
Yeah, so we want to be sure and talk to him before he goes down there and see what he's been doing to prepare. Also, Ed, we got Dana Hokana. And she's a respected horse trainer and clinician. She's known for her expertise in Western pleasure and all-around events. And with decades of experience, she's trained numerous champions. She's very passionate about helping riders build strong, trusting connections with their horse.
Looking forward to that. She's in California too, and I think if we play our cards right, we'll get her to touch base on what's going on with those California fires that are going on, get us an update from there. But before we get started, let's do a segue with our Better Cattle Market with our very own Mark Alpold. Mark?
Well, thank you very much, Ed. Talking about New Year's, live cattle and feeder cattle were rocking and rolling. You have a rocking and New Year's Eve celebration. Well, they were rocking and rolling before New Year's, and they've continued after here with new all-time highs here early week. Now, the cash market certainly helping. Reporting $200 and $201 cash cattle trades here last week. We hear that packers saw a pretty good holiday movement of meat, beef especially, during the holidays, and they do need to refill their coolers. Now, Mother Nature is going to be playing a factor in this whole scenario with all the wintry weather. It's, again, still digging out Kansas City, for example. And, Ed, you know all about this. 10, 15-inch common snowfalls, some of the highest snowfalls, they say, in over some 20 years in Kansas City. And even though the snow event is over, by the way, another system is said to be on the way about this time next week, so I'll be watching that. But the cold weather certainly continues, and that's going to be a factor in our cash cattle trade. Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Colorado, all those feed yards, if they're not digging out with some snow, certainly dealing with the colder weather. We're also watching the Superior Livestock, their first major sale of the year here, the Bell Ringer sale. They have it every year. It's Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday here in Oklahoma City. They expect almost 107,000 head. I believe the number is at catalog time was 106,857 head through those 3 days. So, again, that'll be something to watch, and how active bidders want to be here with where this market is, and the input costs continue going up. Corn higher early week, soybeans higher, or soybean meal, of course, as well. So let's watch live cattle, February live cattle, and what happens above the 197 level. April live cattle, see what they do above 198. Looking at feeder cattle, keep an eye on that previous high, 267.75 on the March feeder cattle, and what would happen if we get above that. And then April cattle would be around 268.50, a number that we're going to be watching from here this week and into next. So that'll wrap it up for me, but as always, wishing you and everyone a profitable week ahead.
And thank you, Mark. We appreciate that. And I got to tell you, I'm very excited that we're going to have more better cattle coming throughout the entire year of 2025. And now we're going to have our very own Merle Arbo that's going to give our Better Horses Tip of the Week. Merle, it's all yours.
Well, Ed, I talked earlier about setting out salt blocks for the horses, especially outside horses when it gets cold. But when temperatures drop, horses may drink less water, which can lead to dehydration and even colic. And it's easy to overlook your water intake on your horse in the winter, but it's just as important as it is in the summer. First, you want to make sure your horse's water is ice-free. And like we talked about earlier, invested in a heated water bucket or a tank heater can make a big difference in helping those horses drink when the water is a little more tolerable. Second, we want to monitor how much they're drinking. How many horses do you have out in that lot? How many gallons a day or approximately are you putting in that tank? The average horse on it needs about 8 to 12 gallons of water a day, and that can vary a little bit based upon their size and diet. You can also, like we talked about, add a salt block out there. A salt block is great, but you can add a pinch of loose salt to their grain too, if you're worried about them getting enough salt. And lastly, your horse is eating more hay to stay warm. Keep in mind that hay is dry, so it's even more crucial to ensure they're drinking enough water to aid in digestion. By staying on top of their hydration, you're helping keep your horse healthy, comfortable, and ready for whatever the day brings. That's your Better Horses Tip of the Week, Ed.
Merle, you did a fabulous job, and all our listeners know that he didn't even prep for this. This came right off the top of his head. I am so impressed with you that you pulled that out. Hey, can I throw something in there on top of that? It's kind of a horse hack that I had a trainer show this to me. Put antifreeze in a spray bottle, so when you get those metal openings onto your gates and you're trying to get your horses in, spray that on there. Takes that ice right away, and you can open your gates so they don't get frozen up. So nice. That's just my own little horse hack of the week. I haven't just made that up. I think we're starting a new segment going in. All right, everyone. I want you to stay with us as we talk all about the equine industry, what's coming up here on Better Horses. We're going to have Tammy Schwartz coming in, Director of Operations at Road to the Horse, right after these messages. I'm Ed Adams.
And I'm Merle Arbo.
And we'll be right back.
Get quality you can stand on. Hoof Grip is the proprietary formula that provides shock absorption for your animals with no ice buildup, slipping, cracking, or sogginess, making it the safest, most comfortable, and maintenance-free flooring on the market. Hoof Grip installs quickly and easily over existing surfaces, is easy to clean, and withstands extreme heat or cold. From vet offices to barns, wash racks to trailers and more. Visit hoofgrip.com to find a dealer in your area today.
We're here for the hardworking, the resilient. We're for the people who measure their days by what needs to get done, not by hours. Where kids learn responsibility at a young age and generations work side by side. Where work doesn't pause for holidays or bad weather. It just gets harder. Where value and hard work means more than the clothes you wear. We're Kleinschmidt's Western Store, Higginsville, Missouri.
Routine dental examination and treatments are essential for high-quality horse care. To prevent potential problems, a horse's mouth should be examined at least once a year. I'm Dr. Chris Blevins, Equine Field Service Veterinarian at Kansas State University Veterinary Health Center. We can examine the mouth and provide a treatment plan to meet the needs of each client and their horse. Visit us at ksvhc.org, the Veterinary Health Center, to discover, to teach, to heal.
Hey, it's Alex Gold from Max Motors in Belton with their huge year-end heavy-duty sale. Every new 2024 Ram 2500 in stock is 20% off MSRP. New 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee up to $13,000 off MSRP. Stock number S240367. Must finance with dealer lender. Offer expires 1/2/25. And if you're looking for the max trade-in values in the Midwest, it's Max Motors, just a short drive to Belton. Max Motors, the easiest place to buy a car, maxmotors.com.
And welcome back to Better Horses. I'm your host, Ed Adams, as we talk all about the equine industry, and excited to have our next guest as we talk about this segment. And it's brought to you by the Kansas State University of College of Veterinary Medicine. And everything they do over there is much appreciated. Check them out at vet.kstate.edu. So if there's one thing to talk about when you're looking at your calendars for 2025 is Road to the Horse. And this is the World Championship of Colt Starting. It's going to be March 27th through the 30th. It's going to be in Lexington, Kentucky at the Alltech Arena. And it's going to be very exciting to watch. And with me today, it's going to come from Fort Worth, Texas. Now, Tammy Schrontz is from Australia. Now, she comes from Texas, and she's trained cutting horses. And for many years now, Tammy's worked alongside Hall of Fame cutting horses all over. And now she's a horseman. She has very good horsemanship skills. And she trains, she shoots, and she does demonstrations, she does lessons, and she does mounted shooting. But we're bringing her on board as Director of Operations at Road to the Horse, and she's going to talk to us all about what's going on and all the preparations they have to do. So welcome aboard, Tammy Schrontz from Director of Operations at Road to the Horse. Tammy, welcome to Better Horses.
Hey, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you joining us. Hey, we're going to talk a lot about what's going on with horses, but first of all, for somebody who hasn't really been there or doesn't know anything about Road to the Horse, can you give us just a quick background of what we're doing out there?
Yeah, I think that's the huge appeal for Road to the Horse. It doesn't matter how much you know about horses. It doesn't matter if you're being drugged to the event by your husband or wife who is a horse lover and you're just coming along. It's super easy for the audience to see. They are able to see a horse come in that is untouched and fairly skittish, and they watch those competitors build a relationship with those colts. And then by the end of the weekend, they get to see those people take those colts through that obstacle course and really challenge the partnership they've built. And I just think that's the huge appeal for Road to the Horse. It doesn't matter your level. It doesn't matter how much you know. It's just such an emotional journey for everyone. And I think that's what makes the event so attractive.
I've been there last year, and I was amazed by the attendance and how each of the competitors focus in on their own horsemanship methodology, which is really exciting to see them communicate and try to educate that partnership between the colts and the trust that they have. So let's talk about our candidates and, more importantly, our professionals that are going to come into the Kentucky Horse Park. Do you want to introduce them?
I'd love to. We have a couple that people are going to be really familiar with. We have Vicky Wilson. She has won our event twice. She is an international show jumper from New Zealand. So it'll be exciting to have her back. It's coming on 6 years since she's been to the event last. A lot's changed for her. And I think the people that saw her come in 2017, she had dislocated her shoulder halfway through the event. It's a pre-existing injury she had, and the audience kind of watched her rally up from behind and win that event, even with her little broken wing that she had in a sling. So that was pretty gritty to watch someone go through that. So she's won the event before. It's been a long time since she's been there, and she's returning. So that's Vicky Wilson. Tick Maynard, who people are familiar with, he is an international eventer. So it'll be the first time we've had two English disciplined riders in the lineup. But Tick won last year, and he kind of came in. He was of a different cat, He came in with his English gear and his helmet with a bunch of cowboys and walked out with a buckle, his first buckle, and his first cowboy hat that he won. So I'm kind of excited if that changes it for him, how it changes it, because pressure there's a lot of it when you're in the arena and a lot of people are watching you. So that's two of our past world champions that are coming back. So joining them, we have two others, and the last one is going to be a wild card. That's going to come in from, a competition we have before the event. So we will host the wild card challenge before, and that fourth position will be filled by a wild card. And then we also have Phil Hogan coming in there for the first time. He is a very well-known horsemanship clinician from Oklahoma. He has not been to our event before, so he is a veteran at the clinician kind of landscape. So I'm really excited to see how he does. We've really enjoyed working with him. He's got a lot of clinics and horsemanship information out there for the public. So I think it's always fun to have a clinician or a competitor in there that's really accessible. You can get to their training information. You can kind of learn who they are and go out and see them in public settings and stuff. So it's always fun to have one of those really kind of household kind of horsemanship names come to our event like that. So I'm excited to watch him for the first time too. So it's a bit of a diverse group.
Absolutely. And let's set the stage for these three. Plus, you also talked about a wild card championship, so we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But These horses are pretty much untouched from the Pitchfork Ranch over there in Texas. Now, if for those of you who are not familiar with the Pitchfork Ranch, and I'll make sure I pronounce that correct, it was founded back in 1883. Now, they're one of the most great American working ranches still located today in Dickens and King counties in Guthrie, Texas. And they have a satellite operation in Oklahoma. And I didn't realize that until just recently. But unlike most of these ranches out there, these great cattle booms of the 1880s, the Pitchfork Ranch has survived every obstacle over the past 100 years. And it's the largest operation and growing initially today. So this is something pretty exciting that they're going to be going into. So these horses are coming in untouched. And Tammy, there's also a wild card championship that's coming on board. Talk to us about what that means.
Yeah, the wild card is super interesting. Some people have talked about it like it's an advantage where that person gets to come in and get the jitters out the way and do a pre-competition. Other people talk about it as a little bit of a disadvantage. You're coming in one competition in and you're a little down. But these wild cards are coming in. I kind of look at it a bit like American Idol or something. You know what I mean? Like this is going to be like a wild card. You're going to get an invitation to compete for the chance. So it's kind of like Hollywood Audition Week, I guess. You come in and the winner of that pre-competition is going to win that title. And then 15 minutes later, they are walking out to pick their colt for the championship. But for us, what it does really is give some clinicians who might not be as well known or, be a full marketing team or have all the advantages of some of our household clinician names. It really puts them up there and gives them a chance to really compete and win the title.
And if you ever thought of watching these professionals get in front of these horses that are pretty much untouched and try to get them not only broke, haltered, blanketed, saddled, going through obstacles, you're going to see these trainers hop on these horses, get them outside of their round pen, gallop, walk, trot into a live audience and a big arena for the very first time. And that in itself is amazing. As we talked about the time period that you have, I mean, it's literally they're doing this in a day.
Yeah, they work with these colts in certain rounds, and the rounds are limited in time. We just don't want to wear those colts out. So they have one session a day in the championship to work with those colts. And every time that competitor touches that colt, the audience gets to see. There's no behind the scenes training. They are double fenced, and those competitors aren't allowed to touch those colts. So every single thing that competitor does to form a relationship with that horse, the audience gets to see.
Yeah, you get to focus in. So if you've ever been to clinics and if you've been to any special trainers that have these special exhibitions, this is the place to go because you get to see it live. You get to see them work it. They're not talking about it. There's no theory here. They're actually doing it. So their effectiveness is really interesting to watch. And more importantly, when they get there, they're going to have a lot of pen wrangling. They get to choose their pen wrangler. Tell me what they do.
Yeah, pen wranglers are super important. I kind of look at that person like a bit of a grounding stick. Like sometimes you get caught up in the moment and the film and the audience, and it's really easy to look out of your round pen and you're looking at the same time everyone else is doing it and they're riding their Colt around and you haven't even caught yours yet. Like sometimes that's okay, but you need someone by your side to help you who can be that outside eye and say, hey, listen, do what you would normally do, concentrate on your pen. So they're there not only to pass equipment and coach that person through, but they're kind of like your best friend through there. They're your navigator.
And if you're just joining us, we're talking to Tammy Schwartz. She's the Director of Operations for Road to the Horse, and that's the World Championship of Colt Starting. That's going to be March 27th through the 30th in Lexington, Kentucky. Okay, I'm going to switch gears on you. I first of all appreciate everything you're telling us about Road to the Horse, but I also want to say that you're kind of like my idol out there, because we talked about this last year when you were on our radio show, and I'd like to touch base with you on again. In 2012, you had a traumatic event. You had a brain injury and you had a collision with a drunk driver, and you had to have some special challenges coming your way. And I got to say that your rehabilitation and the surgery was just unbelievable. And I think you're an inspiration to a lot of people out there. And you continued your horse training. You did not give it up, and you were a world champion mounted shooting, and you came back and you did it again. Can you kind of describe to our listening audience exactly what that was like?
I think I don't wake up with this warrior attitude. I think I'm a strong person and I overcame a huge mountain, but I think it's just perseverance. The hard thing for me before my accident, I defined myself solely by what I had won in the arena. To me, I was a world champion cowgirl. I had all these titles. And when that's taken away from you, you have this huge loss of identity of who am I? What am I doing with my life? And if I'm not that person in the arena, who am I? And that was probably the most difficult hurdle I had to overcome. And I think the answer, when you place your identity onto something that's fragile, like a career like that, you're at risk. And I think, but there's a catch-22. Like if you want to be good at something and be great at something, it has to be your life, So for me, I was giving it everything I had. And after my accident and surgery, it took me quite a few years. And talk about horses being humbling. There's nothing more humbling than to come back to a sport that you were number one in and have to start from scratch. Like, where's my balance at? Like, I can't remember how to run this pattern, like I'm going to ask somebody to help me. And that was certainly an experience for me. So really, really difficult, but it's just a matter of setting goals,
And that is perfect, and I got to tell you that I appreciate you coming on board to Better Horses. We look forward to seeing you in Kentucky. Definitely have a lot of challenges putting all those big, talented people together, and what an event that's going to be. It's going to be March 27th through the 30th in Lexington, Kentucky. Tammy, thank you for joining us. Appreciate you having us on board.
Oh, thank you. Hope to see you there.
All right, we'll be right back with more Better Horses coming your way. I'm Ed Adams, and we'll be right back right after these messages. And you are dialed in to Better Horses Radio. We appreciate everyone listening in as we broadcast from the heartland of the Midwest, Kansas City, Missouri. And we want to take time out and appreciate all of our radio stations airing us here in the Midwest, along with our nationwide radio show, Rural Radio Channel 147. And if for any reason you want to check our podcast, because we bring all the best professionals here talking about the equine industry right here on Better Horses Radio, check us out on our podcast, wherever you get your podcast. And coming up, as we talk about the Midwest and all of the fun stuff and fun weather we get to deal with, we're going all the way to California, talking to one of the finest female trainers in the quarter horse industry. Her name is Dana Hokana, and she's trained the youth and amateur Western pleasure. She's been in horsemanship, Western riding, trail, and reining champions at both the All-American Quarter Horse Congress and the AQHA World Show. as well as many other circuits, and also very much into the Futurity Champions. So I'm excited, honored, a good friend of mine, also from California. Glad to have her on board. Welcome, Dana Hokana. Dana, welcome to Better Horses.
Ed, thank you so much. And I want to say, since the last time we talked, we also had at the Youth World a reserve world champion Western Pleasure horse and a ranch rider that tied for second and third, ended up third overall in the ranch riding, and that was exciting. And then my daughter Bree, she won the world in the Western Pleasure at the regular world show in November, and then also was fifth in the ranch riding. So we've been having a busy, good fall.
And that's exciting that you bring that up, and you just segue and dovetailed into what we really want to talk about, and talking about training programs. Now it's wintertime. We're getting ready for the big shows, and it's going to get here. Spring's going to get here before we know it. And there's a lot of shows going on right now. But Dana, let me ask you a question. Now, you've been in the show ring, and you shared your knowledge with the equine community for a long time, and you've developed the Winning Strides, and that's how it was kind of born. But can you bring us tips, insights when somebody's out there and they're looking for a trainer, or they're looking to go to a clinic, or they're looking, to your point, buying some training DVDs and programs? What should they be looking for?
I think it's so important to look for a trainer with credibility, more than just a good marketing program, because that's part of our problem today. The internet is so great, avenue to bring information to the world, but it also opens the door for problems in that anyone can hang their shingle and say they're a trainer, and there might be better media teams, better marketing, better, there might be better speakers. Who knows? There might be like a hot shot person who looks so good and is convincing you, but you might be getting information that can get you hurt, or that will help horses not last rather than last. And you might be overlooking that solid information because maybe the delivery wasn't presented or marketed quite as good as the first one. And so I just encourage people, like I have a saying, all that glitters isn't gold. Look at the background, look at the fruit in what you're getting into, because look at what they've produced, look at what they've done, what do they have to say for themselves? And are they all around? Do they have a fundamental foundational training program that can help you switch and go to any event you want? Because just like we're getting really big into the ranch events that we love, and all around, trail, horsemanship, Western Pleasure, we're big into all the events. However, you want a program that'll work across the board for any discipline, because a lot of people nowadays want to do the all around, or they think they want a Western Pleasure horse, but really their horse isn't suited for Western. They've invested all this time and training into a Western Pleasure program, and then end up making it a trail horse or a ranch horse, and then they feel like they have to start over. But a sound program will give you fundamentals that line up with the horse's natural way they're made, their natural body mechanics and body position, the natural rhythm and way they move, and acceptance versus unacceptance. I want to teach people, get your horse just broke. Don't completely be event driven. Get them broke to where a good riding horse, soft in the face, willing off your leg, obedient, safe, fun to ride, a good cadence, a good rhythm, and then you can go a lot of directions.
You brought up a very good point, and I really want to hit this home, is you have a lot of success in the show ring. And I love the fact that you said versatility is everything on the horse, because there are some people getting into that they may switch gears from trail to reining to barrel racing to just general horsemanship or Western Pleasure. So to your point, to really sit down and start with the fundamentals of breaking your horse puts a lot of versatility in that, and gives the trainer, or give the rider the ability to pivot if they need to.
100%. And, some people get real stylish and exotic in their event. For example, I'm going to bring up a subject that can be a bad subject and a good subject.
No, there's no taboo here at Better Horses, so that's okay.
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 Well, I just want to be honest and forthright and help people succeed. And, you know, there's a lot of ugly Western pleasure horses going around, and there's a lot of negativity about pleasure. But some people feel in order to get their horse slow enough to be a top Western pleasure horse, the only way to do it is to overcant and over arc their horse in. So there's an example, for example, and I can give you an example in the reining and any division, any event. I can give you an example of how we can get off the center of the road. You know, we get off in a ditch when we start asking our horses to do unnatural or exotic things before they're ready, or at least without really knowing how to do it, right? So these people try to overcant their horse. Now, you know, then you get a bunch of people that go, oh, it's wrong, they're hip to the inside. Well, that's not correct. A horse's natural arc at the lope, whether they're a yearling or a 3-year-old or a 10-year-old running loose in a pasture or riding up and down the arena, is they perform the lope or the canter on a slight arc. And that's the natural right way to do it. So it's not to be criticized to get on an arc, and people get afraid of that now because of all the wrongdoing in the Western pleasure where they overdo it. But it is an added benefit in a way to slow a horse down by interfering slightly with their motion and bringing their hip way to the inside, which actually causes like a break in the energy flow. It's technical, and I understand the biomechanics of that lope and that rhythm and that beat that they need to be on and the position they need to be on. But long story short with that, they get all hung up in that, and then they got a problem to undo when they decide they don't want to do Western pleasure anymore. And I go back to what I said. Get your horse broke, willing, acceptant. Let your transitions be good and immediate and willing. Let your gaits be collected and good. It's okay to have your horse's hip slightly to the inside. That's correct, but not overcanted, you know? And you know, I say all that to say, you just got to ride what you got before you, do your best, learn like what you like and what you don't like, make a willing partner. Making a willing partner is more important than making a superstar in the show.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I want everyone to stay with us. We're going to have more information on the professional horse trainer, Dana Hokana from California, as she joins us in our next segment. So I want everybody to stay with us. We'll be right back right after these messages.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dylan Luter, a specialist in equine performance medicine at the Kansas State University Veterinary Health Center. Our new service focuses on lameness diagnosis, advanced imaging, physical therapy, and regenerative medicine for horses with injuries preventing them from performing at their best. We can treat a variety of conditions and design a customized rehabilitation plan to meet the needs of each client and their horse. Visit us at ksvhc.org, the Veterinary Health Center, to discover, to teach, to heal.
Hi, I'm Tommy with Heritage Tractor. Whether you're looking to maintain your yard or your whole ranching operation, Heritage Tractor has John Deere mower and tractor packages that make work fly by. With a variety of horsepower and attachment configurations, we have a package to best fit your needs and budget. To learn more about these exclusive packages, visit us in store or online at heritagetractor.com.
Legendary products, extraordinary service, that's our heritage.
Established in 1956, the Pinto Horse Association of America was formed to welcome all types of equines and maintain their show records and pedigrees. PTHA currently has over 88,000 members with 157,000 registered Pintos. There are currently 3 separate registries: the Color Registry, the Solid Registry, and the Long Ear Registry. We welcome all levels of competition within a family-friendly environment. Become a member, register, and add value to your horse. For more information, check out the website pintoworld.com.
Get quality you can stand on. Hoof Grip is the proprietary formula that provides shock absorption for your animals with no ice buildup, slipping, cracking, or sogginess, making it the safest, most comfortable, and maintenance-free flooring on the market. Hoof Grip installs quickly and easily over existing surfaces, is easy to clean, and withstands extreme heat or cold. From vet offices to barns, wash racks to trailers and more. Visit hoofgrip.com to find a dealer in your area today.
We're here for the hardworking, the resilient. We're for the people who measure their days by what needs to get done, not by hours. Where kids learn responsibility at a young age and generations work side by side. Where work doesn't pause for holidays or bad weather. It just gets harder. where value and hard work means more than the clothes you wear. We're Kleinschmidt's Western Store, Higginsville, Missouri.
It's time to go with United Mosquito and Fly Control's premier fly system for fly control in your barn, providing relief for horses from the stress of fighting flies, and also makes a barn more pleasant for everyone in the barn. Easy, effective, and safe. With United Mosquito and Fly Control, we provide a full service. You as the barn owner don't have to do anything. We go everywhere and take care of everything with our friendly fast service. Call today at 913-558-3814 or email Paul at unitedmosquito.com.
Hey, it's Alex Gold from Max Motors in Belton with their huge year-end heavy-duty sale. Every new 2024 Ram 2500 in stock is 20% off MSRP. New 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee up to $13,000 off MSRP. Stock number S240367. Must finance with dealer lender. Offer expires 1/2/25. And if you're looking for the max trade-in values in the Midwest, it's Max Motors, just a short drive to Belton. Max Motors, the easiest place to buy a car, maxmotors.com.
And you are dialed in to Better Horses Radio. Appreciate you joining us and staying with us. And if you're just joining us, we are talking to the professional horse trainer, Dana Hokana from California. She's our top female trainers in the quarter horse industry today. We just got through talking about the youth and amateur Western pleasure, horsemanship, Western riding, trail and reining, and all the kind of neat things that we can do with our horses, and had a great little conversation about getting qualified trainers. And Dana, that's really a big part of the program from there, is just getting good training programs. And it's amazing how much talent that we have developed with these horses throughout the years, throughout the 15 to 20 years, and how much talent they're available. But you bring up a very good point in that last segment. You really got to be careful on who's giving you advice and the proper technical training programs that you get into.
I completely agree. Thank you, Ed. And thank you for having me. I'm honored to be able to give my input and visit with you. But I just think it's so important that you do your research and who's helping you, you know. And one other thing I really want to stress is fundamentals. Fundamentals are how you learn and how you layer the ability and the development of that sport in order to become excellent at it. And fundamentals are extremely important. Having a program that's laid out that offers the fundamentals without the shortcuts in there is just something I really recommend looking into. And I have some really good programs.
But let's get down to the basics. I mean, there are only 15% of the 7 million horses out there that are really competing in the show ring, and there's a lot of 80% plus that are just recreational riders. And just having the fundamentals is key to this. And I think you provide that over there in California.
Yeah, I mean, I really do. And I feel like, so when you say 15% of the 7 million horses show or compete that way, but the rest of those people, they've got a true need, because they're dealing with variables that even us show trained horses may not have. For example, weather changes, time of year changes, energy level changes, maybe they're trail riding, for example, or recreational, terrain changes, they don't know what they're going to come around the corner on a mountain trail and find. And so they need those fundamentals. They need a very broke, accepting horse as much or more than anybody. And that's what I really want to impart to people, is to be extremely mindful about using your cues, to deal first with the fundamentals, like, how to correctly use your hands, helping people to understand how to use your legs. Do you need spurs? Do you not need spurs? Is your horse tired enough to go ride? And, a good broke horse is absolutely worth its weight in gold. And that all takes time, and it takes somebody who's patient and methodical and big-sighted enough to, big picture sighted enough to take the time to make and develop the horse. People that recreationally ride often think it's okay to ride once a month or once every 2 weeks and maybe not prepare the horse for that ride. Maybe they think, oh, it's great, I just jump on and do, and then they get themselves hurt and scared, and then we lose potential good, great people in our industry. So I just can't tell you enough how much I think a fundamental functional program is urgent and important for just trail riders.
I could not agree with you more. And I'll actually bring that home to an actual case study where we were at the Flint Hills, and we were with about 15 horseback riders, and we had a huge storm coming in, and we had to ride it out because you're in the middle of 1,000 acres of virgin tall grass and nowhere to go. And the fundamentals of those who had their control of their horses did very well, and those who didn't really struggled in that event. Let's pivot for just a minute. Since you're in California, we would not do this radio show with service if we didn't talk about the most destructive fires that are going into LA right now. In the Palisades fire that is literally scorching the seaside area between Malibu and Santa Monica right now. And one of the things that we have to talk about is that they're destroying up to 15,000 acres as of Wednesday. And I'm sure as the week goes on, they're going to try to get this get contained. But let's take a minute, and I just want to see just a couple of the local reports there from local reporters of what's going on with the horses today.
We now move to a different part of Southern California, which is also on fire. This is the Eaton fire in the Altadena area, and for the first time, our colleague Gina Silva is giving us a look from the ground. Those are horses, Gina?
Those are horses, yes. There's a woman that just came down the road here, and she's trying to get her horses out of here. But as you can see, we are on New York Drive in Altadena, and this entire hillside is on fire. It has already crossed the street, and there's a building here that is in danger of also going up in flames. But you can see this is an incredible wind-driven fire. The Eaton fire started around 6:30 p.m. with just an estimated 20 acres. And the blaze, as you can see, it has quickly exploded into more than 200 acres, and it keeps growing. And that is why officials have issued a mandatory evacuation order in the area. And I heard a lady earlier saying she didn't want to leave because she's got animals. And right over here, Joab, you can see more people coming with their horses. They're trying to rescue their animals. Can you imagine just... oh my goodness, these embers flying everywhere. Hi there, how many more horses do you have?
We have a couple we just let loose over there. We're trying to get as many as we can out.
And Dana, that's going on right now. I really can appreciate trying to lead out horses in the fires with all of the ambers that are throwing on and those Santa Ana winds that are just going on. And we're talking fundamentals of training in horses, not only on the horse, but also on the ground. This is actually critical. Talk to us about what it's like to live in California and to go through something like this. And I think you have some experience in this.
I do. I do. And I will tell you that when the Fairview fire happened in Southern California, right in Temecula here, it grew to over 19,000 acres. And it was growing, I mean, by the seconds. Acres and acres by the seconds. And they never thought, I mean, it was way far away. We saw the plume of smoke way far away within a couple days. It got so aggressive that they couldn't get a handle on it. And so although we were not extremely close, we were within 4 to 5 miles of the fire. There was so much brush and so much land that, could ignite. And they said, the front line of the fire was miles long. It was, so they evacuated. They came, the police came, they said, get your horses, get out of here. And we had over 30 horses to evacuate. And I just was warm. My heart was so warmed by the wonderful people who came in trucks and trailers. They got news. I had a big horse ranch, so they're there. People were there. And I mean, I was trying to keep track of where my horses went. You kind of throw to the wind, like protocol. Like, for example, I normally wouldn't just haul my horse to a strange place. You don't know what they're exposed to. A lot of the local ranches with big barns opened up their doors. So a few of ours were at one barn with all kinds of horses. And you're like, well, if they come home and catch a bug, at least they're alive right now, right? Because my horses were in about 6 different locations. I had so many horses. I can't even imagine what they're going through. It's so sad for them.
It's what we don't appreciate is the 3 top states for horses is Texas, Florida, and California. And the California wildfires going on right now is Palisades and Eaton County right now. And here's another example of what they're going through.
We're coming in on live pictures here of something that is just harrowing. It is the rescue of what looks to be people rescuing horses in this terrifying fire. I can't tell you whether this is Palisades or Pasadena or Santa Monica or Altadena, because this fire is jumping everywhere at this point. So upsetting, because you can see one of those horses wasn't lassoed. So I hope that they get to them all. They are trying to rescue everyone at this point. I can tell you that in the Pasadena and Altadena area, there are mandatory evacuations, and this is what authorities were telling people there. There is an immediate threat to life. It is simply apocalyptic. It is the word of the night.
So, Dana, they are escorting horses everywhere, and I just don't think we appreciate just exactly how many horses are out there. And living in California, this isn't something new, but those Santa Ana winds, they come up all the time. So you really have to have a pretty good broke horse out there. And there's some beautiful breeds out in California.
Yes, yeah. And I was just giving lessons right before this interview here, and the wind started gusting, but our horses were looky-loo and a little snorty, and you really do want to be able to connect with your horse, draw them back to you. We were on their backs, but you want to draw them back to you, connect, and they trust your communication, and that's part of that whole fundamental thing. When you put more bit or bridle than your horse needed and you draw back, say, come to me, come to me, boy, are you here? And they're scared in the face and they go, no, I've got too much external stimulus going on. I'm scared of the fire. I'm scared of the wind. And your bit scares me, so I'm going to blow. Then we're just very definitely out of luck. And so that's why learning the fundamentals is always in your back pocket for when the unexpected, right? And
yeah, it's amazing how it's so important to get your horses to have a good, willing mindset. And I think that's also a big part of your training program, building better partnerships through your Better Horsemanship. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on Better Horses. And we want to get everybody familiar with your program. What's the first, where should they be looking at first?
Well, I have a really great video club called Team Hocana Video Club. It's extremely reasonable. I think it's like 19 something a month, or if you sign up for a year, it comes down to 16 a month. And there's over 200 training videos, all categorized. I mean, there's huge colt breaking section, show prep section, learning to have a balanced seat, learning collect. I mean, on and on and on. It's just a wide variety of knowledge. And I have that. And then I believe it's 24 professionally filmed DVDs that are available either in DVD form or streaming form, that as well as that video club you can watch anywhere, anytime that you have internet. And a lot of testimonials I get. People watch video as they're riding, they'll stop it, ride, work on the exercise, go back, watch the video. It's extremely functional and handy, and people love it. But the Team Hocana Video Club has its own website, and it's just teamhocanavideoclub.com. And then my regular website is Hocana.com.
That's a good lead in. We will be able to see more of Dana Hocana on Better Horses Television that's airing on the Cowboy Channel and RFD along with Equus Television, and we'll be sure to add those in there, and we're thrilled to have you on board. Dana, thank you so much for taking time out, especially with everything going on in California, and we appreciate everything you do in the horse industry and hope to have you back.
Thank you so much for having me.
Dana Hocana from California. Merle, I can't tell you how much I really appreciate having Dana come on board, and what a plethora of information she has, and what a big contributor for Better Horses she's been.
Yes, I can remember, I'm not going to say how many years ago, but I can remember she had a really nice stud horse called Invested Dimension. And so I remember that from years ago. So it's nice that she's still doing the horse deal and helping us all get better.
Yeah, and she is promising she's going to be more on the Better Horses television show coming up for 2025. And I also want to remind all of our radio listeners that if you want to hear this encore show again, be sure to check us out on our podcast at betterhorses.com, and you can check it out wherever you get your podcast.
And also, the Better Horses Winter Edition newspaper is coming out with a lot of great tips for horses and riders alike.
And as I mentioned before, Dana's going to be coming on board with Better Horses Television. You can check that show out at RFD, the Cowboy Channel, and streaming on Equus TV.
I'd like to give a special thanks to our team behind the scenes, our radio producer, Brianna Johnson, our TV producer, Kelly Creech, and of course, all of our great sponsors.
And more importantly, we'd like to thank you, our listeners. And so, Merle, that kind of wraps us up. We're going to try to like hunker down, stay warm, keep our bodies in tune with all these winter challenges that we have physically. But we want all of you to be good buckaroos and buckarettes. Mind your mom and dads and be brave, but don't take any chances out there. Until next time, I'm Ed Adams.
And I'm Merle Arbo.
Happy trails, and always ride for the brand.